I don't know if I was stupid or if I got manipulated. This happened when I was 18. I'm 25 now, but even after all these years, I still remember that night like it happened yesterday. It was one of the weirdest, most uncomfortable moments in my life. Honestly, I think it messed me up a little. Not in a huge way, but enough to make me feel confused and embarrassed every time I think about it. It was my first job ever. I worked at Zaxby's. I'd only been there a few weeks, still trying to learn everything and do well. It was hard. I really wanted to be one of the good workers, the kind that managers liked. But it felt like all the people who already had that status got the easy shifts, like the morning ones. I always ended up on closing shifts, and that sucked. But I didn't complain. I just did my job and hoped someone would notice that I cared. By that time, I had closed a few nights already. I was getting better at it. Still slow with some things, but not terrible. At least that's what I told myself. That night, we were doing the usual end-of-the-night stuff. Cleaning, restocking, trying to shut things down early without actually closing yet. You know how it is in food service. If you can get a head start on closing, you do it. Because if someone comes in late and orders something that needs to be made fresh, it can mess up everything and make you stay longer. So we were about 30 minutes from closing. The place was completely empty, and the kitchen guys were moving fast, trying to clean and put everything away. It was kind of peaceful. Then, out of nowhere, a huge group walked in. I still remember it clear as day. It was a large Spanish-speaking family. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but that's what I remember. They were all speaking Spanish, and they seemed to know each other well. I didn't know who was related to who exactly, but there were a lot of people. At least 2 adults who looked like parents and a bunch of kids. They all came through the same door at the exact same time and started lining up like they were about to order. They were loud, but not in a bad way, just talking to each other a lot. Honestly, I remember standing there thinking, please let this be quick. Because I knew if they ordered a bunch of complicated meals, the kitchen would be pissed, and we'd all be there way later than we wanted to be. Anyway, the first order came from a woman, maybe the mom. She ordered 4 meals, all exactly the same. Same sandwich, same fries, same everything. That part was easy. Then, another adult, maybe the dad, ordered 4 different meals, all completely different from each other. That second order was way more complicated, but we got through it, gave them a number, and they went to sit down. There were 2 booths across from each other, and they all squeezed in there. It was still just them and us in the restaurant. The kids were already kind of wild, running around, yelling, laughing. But we were trying to stay calm and get everything done. The food for the second order, the one with the 4 different meals, came out first. I called the number, like always. One of the boys looked at me, pointed to it, and asked if it was theirs. I told him no, it was the order made by the man, his dad, I think. He nodded and walked it over to the man and sat down. I figured it was all good. Then the second tray came out, the simple one with the 4 identical meals. This time, the woman, the mom, came up and grabbed it. She didn't even hesitate, just took it and walked back to her seat. I didn't think much of it. But after a few minutes, the man came up, looking confused. He was trying to ask about his food, but he barely spoke English. It was hard to understand what he was saying. I started to feel nervous. I didn't want to mess up. I tried to explain that his food had already come out and was picked up by the boy. That's when things got weird. The mom walked over and, in a quiet voice, told me she knew the food she took wasn't hers. But she was hungry, so she took it anyway, just like that. She literally admitted to stealing the other order. Her own husband's, I think. She didn't seem guilty at all. She just said it like it was normal. I was standing there stunned. I didn't know what to say. She just walked back and started eating the food she took, right in front of us. Meanwhile, the man was getting more and more upset. He was pointing at the food and speaking fast, clearly angry. I didn't understand, so we had to call over one of my coworkers who could speak both Spanish and English. She tried to translate, but it wasn't helping much. The man said he wanted both of the orders remade for free. He said it wasn't fair that his family didn't get to eat because the woman took their food. But we said we could only remake his original order, not both. That's when he got even more upset and started demanding a refund. The woman was just standing next to him, still chewing on the food she stole. She didn't say sorry or anything, just kept eating like it was no big deal. At that point, everything became a blur. People were talking over each other. My coworker was trying to explain everything in Spanish. My manager came out and tried to take control of the situation. Then, completely randomly, this other woman, another customer who had been there the whole time, stood up and started yelling at the mom. She called her out saying, "You literally stole that food in front of everyone. Don't blame him." She was defending me, I guess. And suddenly, the mom, who up until then had acted like she didn't speak English, turned around and started speaking perfect English. She looked at the woman and said, "It's not your business." Then they started arguing too. I felt frozen. Everyone was yelling. People were looking at me for answers. My coworkers wanted to know what happened, my manager wanted the story, and I couldn't even think straight. I was so embarrassed and anxious, I could barely talk. I just kept thinking, did I do something wrong? Is this all my fault? Eventually, both families decided to leave. But instead of leaving together, like they came in, they went out two different doors. Which was weird because I saw their cars parked right next to each other in the lot. After they left, I saw the mom walk around the entire store to get back to her car. Then they both drove off at the exact same time. We stayed late that night because the kids had made such a huge mess. Fries, crumbs, napkins, even spilled drinks were all over the floor. It took forever to clean up. And when we were finally done, my manager told me I could go home. After that, they never put me on night shifts again. At least not with that crew. I could tell the rest of the night shift team didn't like me anymore. It felt like they blamed me for what happened. For a long time, I kept thinking about that night. And even now, years later, I still wonder, were they trying to scam us? Did they plan it all? Or was I just too young and dumb to handle the situation the right way? I've even asked myself something I don't like to admit. Was I somehow being racist without realizing it? Did I treat them differently because they spoke Spanish and I couldn't understand them? It still eats at me. I don't think I did anything bad on purpose. I really tried my best to be fair and kind. But maybe I was too quiet. Maybe I should have spoken up more or asked for help sooner. I was just so scared of messing up that I kind of froze. And when everything fell apart, I didn't know how to explain myself. Everyone was looking for someone to blame, and I guess I was the easiest target. Now that I'm older, I realize that some people really do try to manipulate you, especially when they think you're new, nervous, or unsure of yourself. And maybe that's what happened. Or maybe it really was just a big, stupid mess that got out of control. But either way, that night left a mark on me. It was the first time I felt completely powerless at work. The first time I felt like no matter what I did, it was going to be the wrong thing. And I don't think I'll ever forget it. Sometimes I still wonder, was I stupid? Or did I just get played?